brought to you almost live from the Dude in the Basement Studios. Why? Because that's where the good stuff is. It's Sips, Suds, and Smokes with your smoking host, the good old boys. Suds, Suds, Suds. It's time for more Suds.
Hey everyone, greetings and welcome to where everything good in life is worth talking about. And in this case, everything good in life is worth drinking. This is good old gal Julieanna, and joining me today are my co-hosts, good old boy Dave.
Well, hey there, sugar.
Wow.
Is that southern enough?
No, it's not getting any better.
Dang.
Thanks. Good old boy Kendall.
Hi, it's great to be back.
Yay! And good old boy Sparky.
Howdy.
Hey, nice. Our Sud segments are all about beer, beer, and more beer. Today's show is special. It is a brewery takeover. We are talking about one of the most innovative craft brewers in America, or actually I should say craft breweries. It is Crooked Stave Artisanal Beer Project in Denver, Colorado.
Julie, this show is not about Crooked Stave.
What are you talking about, dude? It is.
No, this is something else.
Hold on. You guys said I was going to get to drink some Crooked Stave if I came back. There better be some Crooked Stave.
Kendall, the show is about love. Now, there have been a lot of great love stories in history. Romeo and Juliet, Anthony and Cleopatra, Mickey and Minnie, Homer and Marge, Oedipus and his mom.
Oh, really?
What, too soon? Anyway, this show is about a man and his love for... Hey, what's wrong with Sparky? Why are his eyes rolling back in his head?
Did somebody say love? Hi, this is the ghost of Casey Kasem, and I've got a long-distance dedication.
Holy crap.
Yeah, this is different.
I'd like to tell you a love story. It's about a young man named Chad Yakobson and his love of Brettanomyces. What is Brettanomyces? It's a
Non-spore-forming genus of yeast in the family Saccharomyceta. It is often colloquially referred to as Brett. Several American craft breweries use Brettanomyces in their beers. Several breweries use 100% Brettanomyces for the fermentation of some of their beers. It is common for American brewers that use Brettanomyces to also include lactic acid-producing bacteria such as Lactobacillus and Pediococcus in order to provide sourness to the beer. While Brett is sometimes pitched into the fermenter, aging in wood barrels previously inoculated with Brettanomyces is another method used to impart the complexity and sourness contributed by these strains of yeast.
Chad's love affair with Brett started where a lot of love and experimentation starts: college. In fact, Chad did his master's dissertation on Brett. Now, if that doesn't kick the crap out of a Hallmark card, I don't know what does. When Chad started Crooked Stave in 2010, he was saying, "Brett, I love you, baby, and I want to spend the rest of my life with you. We have a love, baby, a funky love." And so we send this long-distance dedication out to Chad and Brett and their funky love.
When a man loves a microorganism, can't keep his eyes on nothing else. He needs a microscope to see the good thing he's found. If it is bad, he can't taste it. Still wants to drink his fill. Don't care nothing about acetic acid, phenols, or diacetyl.
Julie, what's going on here?
Oh my God, I am not sure, but it's time to get this car out of the ditch. Hey Dave, if you've done butchering enough R&B classics, why don't you tell us what our lineup today will be?
Don't be a hater, Julie. Anyway, here are the beers we've been getting funky with today. Colorado Wild Mountain Sage, Mama Bear's Sour Cherry Pie, Silly Cybies, Nitemare on Brett, Progenitor, and Motif. We were going to have me do the ratings, but since I'm an idiot and read the wrong line, and I'm all love struck, And since Sparky seems to have a deceased Lebanese man inside him, good old boy Kendall is going to read get the honors of reading the SUDS ratings today.
We'll be tasting and discussing these beers and rating them with these SUDS ratings, plus our signature belching sounds. Here are those ratings now. 1, that sucks. Give me anything but a bud. 2, was that a belch? 3, what a relief. 4, a body should really not make that sound. And 5, listen to that hang time. Give me another.
Hey, great job, Kendall. Let's get to some beer. Up first is good old boy Sparky. Hey, Sparky, what's your top pick from the flight?
Hey guys, what's up? Are we recording yet?
Yeah, Sparky, we're recording. Jeez, it's like having a second Dave here.
Hey.
I'll take that as a compliment.
You're right, Dave. Sorry, Sparky. It's nothing like having two Daves. God bless. Now, tell us what your top pick out of the flight is.
So, I think that out of these, my favorite, I'm a cherry fiend. So, I think that out of all of these, and it's a tough decision too, because there's so many great things in front of us here and so much funk. Man, I think I'm going to have to go with Nitemare on Brett.
Ooh, Nitemare on Brett. So, this batch of our dark sour ale was aged in oak with fresh cherries from Hawkkiss, Colorado. It is a 9.66% ABV.
Wow.
Only Chad would get that detailed.
He almost made it to 9.7.
Hail Satan!
So,
Dangerously smooth.
I did not get that it was that high ABV. That's tough.
Yeah.
That could be dangerous fast.
Can you check that, Julian, reread that?
Could you take that out to the tens of thousandths? Actually, I'm not happy with tens or hundreds.
Like pi?
Yeah,
Not-
just stretch that sucker out.
not happy with that number.
No.
9.6598474. I spit on myself.
And that's what you get.
Math does that to me,
Yeah.
though.
So, anyways, yeah. You liked it?
Yeah, I really did. It just explodes in your face.
Wow.
It explodes somewhere.
This show just got real.
Wow.
So, Kendall, what did you think about Nitemare on Brett?
I like the roastiness of it, and that's the one thing I get on the Nightmares is how those flavors complement the fruit and the funk and the other things they do with it. So that's one of the things I noticed. I thought it has a very nice tartness, but it's also very dry in the finish.
Yeah. It is very much. So, how would you rate Nitemare on Brett?
Giving this one a 4.
So,
Dave? Good old boy, Dave.
sorry, something exploded in my face.
Yeah, and we didn't get Sparky's rating
I think
either.
it was Sparky exploded.
I blame Casey Kasem. I think that's... I'm sorry, when you said I had a Lebanese man in me, I thought it was Friday. I don't know what...
So Sparky, what would you rate Nitemare on Brett?
I thought it was, I'd be afraid if I had this around on a regular basis because I'm not sure I would get much done with my life, especially knowing that it's such high ABV. I loved the tartness. I loved how clean it was, especially, towards the end. I think I'd have to give it a 5. I think it's my favorite of all of these that I've tried so far.
Nice.
So, and I think a lot of these other ones are supplemented by fruit. It's just very interesting to me that this is just straight, pure, concentrated funk. So, after I clean myself up, I think I'd have to say that's my favorite. So
Awesome.
yeah.
So I also enjoyed it. I don't know if I enjoyed it as much as Sparky, but it is definitely a great beer. I think it takes your palate through a lot of different flavors, but it does. I think there's a hint of sweetness, like somewhere right in the middle.
Yeah.
That you get, and then it does kind of finish out kind of dry and nice. So I believe this is a great beer, and all of the iterations of Nitemare on Brett, cherry, raspberry, the different barrels that they put them in are all really great. So I would definitely give this one a 5 as well.
Well, my 10 seconds worth of this is, it is a beautiful beer, and the cherry is subtle, the funkiness is strong, but it's still easy drinking. And like you said, it doesn't taste like the ABV that it is.
That's sneaky.
Yeah, it is. It's very sneaky, but it's a gorgeous, dark, rich color. And I mean, this to me is one of those that you really just want to sit and enjoy and linger with, if that makes any sense.
Will there be a Lebanese man involved in any capacity?
Probably will be.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
This is another dedication for another time.
Fair
Anyways, I've given this a 5. Well, we will be right back with another discussion about another Crooked Stave beer in just a minute. Welcome back, everyone, and we are talking about a love fest to Chad Yakobson and Crooked Stave Artisanal Brewery in Colorado. Up next is good old boy Kendall, and he's going to talk about his top pick from the flight.
My favorite beer from the flight, and it's the one that surprised me the most. I've had many of these beers before. I know that I love pretty much all of them, and the one that did not excite me was the Wild Sage. I've not been much of a sage guy, but I got to taste this, and it was fantastic. I mean, there's tons of sage in the nose, and then when you start drinking it, it's lightly tart and gets a little more tart as it finishes. You get just a hint of the sage, and then you get some bright, almost lemony citrus flavors, and there's more sage in the nose and in the flavor, but what's there really works with the other flavors in the beer. A nice little funkiness to it, and just all in all, it all worked together to make a great, easy drinking beer. It's probably another one that's like 9%, right? I don't know, but...
Well, since you have asked so nicely, it is a Veil barrel-aged Saison with fresh cuttings of Colorado wild sage, and it is 7.2% ABV.
Well, that's practically a session beer.
There you go.
I could put away a few of these.
Yeah, exactly.
Drink it by the bomber.
Oh, it would be great on a nice summer evening on the back porch.
After dinner.
Love this beer, and that's why I gave it a 5.
And good old boy Kendall has just added into what we all know and love. I believe we talked about this beer in a previous episode.
Yeah.
I want to say maybe our GABF episode.
It's either that or, I think it was one of the GABF episodes.
Yeah,
It was definitely a favorite when we went out to Denver and had it the first time. I like this beer. When you smell it, the sage, to me, kind of gives it a savory aspect that it almost like makes you think it would pair well with like meat, You know, this is a meat drinker's beer. You know, a fancy meat drinker's beer because it's fancy beer.
Fancy meat or fancy eater?
Well, I'm not getting into that. That's a little personal, Kendall. But anyways, before Kendall takes us off in another ditch. Uh-oh, Sparky's about to explode again. No, I think this, because the savory and then you get the citrus flavor that comes in with it is really great. Yeah, and this would be a nice like aperitif or, like you said, Kendall, just like out after dinner on the summer, like sitting on the back porch, just sipping this and having some conversations. This is a surprising beer because sage is something where just even the name is a little off-putting when you think about it in a beer. Some herbs, you think, well, that would go great in a beer, but some you don't. But he made it work. Damn you, Chad Yakobson, you made it work. And I give Colorado Wild Sage a 5. Good old gal, Julieanna.
This beer reminds me of everything that I have noticed at Crooked Stave. So we've been going to GBF a couple years now, and the first year we made sure that we went to Crooked Stave at the Source. The Source is this really cool kind of ingenious idea of housing multiple types of artisanal goods and services, if you will, in one place. It's the neatest thing, and I hope to God we get something like this in Nashville someday. Anyways,
butcher, cheese place,
restaurant.
Oh, so you got like you got an
clothing.
arcade of
yeah.
Have you guys ever been to Oxbow Market in Napa? It's kind of the same concept. They've got cheesemongers and charcuterie and butcher shops and a bakery, and there's a couple places to eat in there too. And
exactly,
this is
that's exactly
like
it.
that.
Well,
Yeah.
this is that.
Very cool.
Why don't we have that?
You have not opened it yet, Sparky.
I don't know.
That's your
true.
problem.
All right,
You're-
third career.
Get on
Yeah.
it.
On it.
Anyways, this kind of reminds me of all that is at the Source. I mean, it's a wonderful beer. I mean, and I've been in love with it since the first time I tried it, but it just is very artisanal, for lack of a better word. And it just, yes, it would go good with the meats and the cheeses that are there at the Source. And, you just get this feeling like that you can just carry a pint of this around the Source while you're searching for other goods and services at that place. I know that sounds really cheesy, but this just to me is the epitome of what, true artisanal craft beer is in a truly artisanal food community, if that makes any sense. And I'm glad you like this beer. It's one of my favorites. And with the sage and the lemoniness and that slight like funkiness, it really is like a craft beer lover's lawnmower dream, if you will. And I'm giving this a 5. Okay, that was like twice as long today.
It's unusual.
It felt very cleansing.
It's true.
Wow.
We need that after this episode.
I guess
Absolutely.
so. Good old boy Sparky, what'd you think of this beer?
So the first thing that I wrote after I tasted this was fun with food. So that was, when you guys were talking about some of the other notes, I love to cook and smoke meats and stuff. And to me, I just like immediately had the vision of this beautiful roast chicken that I had put in like a citrus brine for a couple of days and then, taking it out and dusting the cavity with some sage and then just roasting it so the outside's perfectly crisp and the inside's still just super juicy. And this beer would be the perfect thing to go with it. And sage is a dangerous weapon. I mean, I think a couple of you guys talked about that's a powerful spice, and a little dab will do you.
I find it off-putting in a lot of things.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, I mean, I think people use it improperly. But who the heck would have thought of it in a funky beer? I mean, my goodness, what a revelation. I really enjoyed it. But like, to me, I want the chicken leg from that roast chicken right now. I want that dark meat. I want the crispy skin, and I want, we should probably just leave and go make that right now, I think is really the right answer. But, overall, very cool, very funky. I'd have to give it a 4 overall. I was very pleased with it.
Can I just say that I think we have another Sip Suds and Smokes first. I believe Sparky is the first person on the show to use the term dusting the cavity. So kudos to you, Sparky. Kudos.
I aim to please.
And now we are banned from culinary institutes.
And Lebanon. I'm really sorry, the entire country of Lebanon. You guys are tight. I mean, solid folks.
Yeah.
Going through a lot.
There's
but,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, good old boy Dave, what was your favorite of the flight?
My favorite is Mama Bear's sour cherry pie.
Oh, man.
Stole it from you, I know.
You did, you rat.
You guys need to work this out. You need some time? Because we can.
It'll be after you guys leave.
Later.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
She'll get out the whipping stick.
Right on.
So, okay. So this Burgundy Sour Ale was aged in oak barrels with sour cherries. And this is a 7.00% ABV.
Wow.
For those that care. Yes.
Was there a digit that carried infinitely after that, or no? Just stuck at 00?
It's amazing some of the ABVs on these beers, because traditional sours are generally like 3-4% beers, and a lot of the, like the Pediococcus and Lactobacillus, depending on how they're used, they cannot thrive, and even some of the strains of Brettanomyces cannot survive in higher concentrations of alcohol. They don't have as much tolerance.
So booze murders funk.
Booze murders funk, yes. So consider that. So if you're ever playing a game of funk, booze, scissors, never pick funk if someone's going to play booze. So booze.
Let that be a lesson to us all.
Yes.
True.
So I just made that game up, by the way. We'll play later. Yeah. Anyway, so Mama Bear, I would love to have her pie, because it is so good, dude. Her cherry pie, guys.
And the love fest continues.
I'm just so glad I didn't do a spit take on this microphone right now. We might want to think about putting some plastic up.
Yeah.
Just in the future.
Some sheeting.
Just a thought. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's getting a little weird.
Getting. Oh, Kendall.
Just now, huh?
Just now started getting a little weird for you. All right.
I have
Kendall's
a high tolerance for weirdness.
Yeah.
Now we know his tipping point.
So, this beer is like so full of flavor, and it's tart almost to the point of face puckering, like full frontal face pucker. But it stops just at that right spot, Shut up, dude. So
Are we saying anything?
You're saying it with your expression, so shut your expression up. So your body language is too loud. So anyway, I don't even know what I'm saying. So anyways, I love your pie, Mama Bear, and I hope to have it again soon. I would give this beer a 5 million. You guys suck, by the way, because I couldn't even do my beer thing.
It's a drop.
Wow. Okay. I guess I'm up next. I still remember being at the Source and tasting this thing for the first time. This was 2 years ago at GABF, and Crooked Stave releases a beer for each GABF festival. This was the kid that won that year. And I just kept thinking to myself, oh my God, it's like you finally the song is finally in your head, and the birds are chirping, and the sky is like this beautiful blue, the sun's shining, and like everything just seems to come into focus. I know this sounds really weird, but bear with me. Anyways, it still continues
cheering you on.
Yeah, thank you. It just still continues to be one of my favorite beers from Crooked Stave of all time. I mean, the cherryness it's so tart, but at the very end, after your salivary glands are just sort of like overloading with juices, you get the sweetness. And then there is that breadiness there too. And it's such a great, interesting balance. I mean, I haven't had anything like this. Not to say that there isn't anything out there that I just haven't tried yet, but this is such a specific flavor. He better just brew this for the rest of his life. And this is my love dedication to Chad Yakobson, but I love you for this beer. It's really incredible, and I give this a 5. Now, top that, good old boy, Sparky.
I don't think I can on public radio, but I love cherries. That's my favorite fruit of all time, and this I think is everything you're looking for in a good tart cherry, funky beer. As a matter of fact, you get the tartness. Again, this just goes to food for me. I think all these amazing Crooked Stave beers are just screaming to be paired with a great dinner or a great meal.
Exactly.
And this one, I'm thinking like a dark chocolate torte or something like that to kind of to go with it. So you get that, or I might take some cherries and use this in kind of like a sauce that I would put on top of that with some some slow cooked cherries with that to go but
and some mascarpone cheese.
Oh, get out of town,
yes.
dude! No, yes. So yeah, I think it's amazing. First of all, I think it's really lucky, at least in this market, that we even have these beers. Just it's a weird story on how we even got them here. Can we talk about that for a second?
Please do.
So there was a beer festival back in March, and by some kind of deal with the devil, I'm not really sure. Smooth, sweet talking. The organizer of the beer festival, Matthew Leff, organized some kind of temporary deal with a local distributor to get these into the market. And I know, I'm sure it's only a matter of time. It's probably too late. We only got like a certain amount of it, so it's not going to be a forever thing. But they've been flying off the shelves here.
They went really quickly.
Yes, and I mean, it's going to be a sad day indeed when
we need more.
I know but it's a temporary thing. I mean, I think
no, we need more.
You're not blinking right now, and you look really intense. You're kind of freaking me out just a tiny bit.
More.
Okay, all right. Julieanna?
What is he possessed by?
I don't know, but you're going to have to manage this situation. Mama,
don't make me get on Mama Bear on
he needs
you guys,
that pie.
Right?
He needs Mama Bear's pie.
You better bring me some more of this pie.
I'm smelling what you're stepping in. Gotcha. So very, very fortunate that we got this into the market, and very happy to have this because the more cherries and fruits and funky awesomeness that you can bring in here. But really, the thing about all of these Crooked Stave beers to me is that they just scream. I mean, there's a beer tasting dinner that is just waiting for this to happen, and probably happens in Colorado every other day or something. But to me, this is a just delightful tart, just a great way of showcasing. I'd love to know what kind of cherries they used, but just a great way of showcasing that fruit, and would be fantastic with some chocolate.
I hear people in Colorado. They have so much Crooked Stave, they bathe in it.
I've heard that too. Yeah, mouthwash and aftershave is the other two things.
Throw it around, sprinkle, a little bit behind the ear.
Shoot videos just to troll the rest of us. That's a thing. Jerks. I have to go to 5. So just fantastic. Everything I'm looking for.
Go to boy Kendall. What do you think of this beer?
I don't know what else can be said other than the first thing I wrote down was just cherries, 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 because it is so abundant and bright and tart, and I love that. It was I can't say anything more than y'all have. It was delicious, and I gave it a 5.
said, my man. Well said.
Now we get to me.
Well, so before we do that, I would just like to talk about some unrelated subjects. I was just kidding. Go ahead.
Whatever. Okay. In the same fruity vein,
Oh, we're going to talk about Sparky.
Guys.
no, I would like to wax poetic about silly Cybies.
Oh.
Yes. And it was a toss-up, really, between this and another one. But I wanted to talk about this because raspberries... Well, let me get to the description first. Why don't I just do that?
Let me say, good old boy Mike loves raspberries and raspberry beers. So if you ever see him out somewhere and there's a raspberry beer on tap, buy him the biggest glass they have and insist that he drink it.
Oh, you know that is wrong on so many levels. Seriously. If he was here today, he'd be stabbing you with something that was not sweet. Anyways, Silly Cybies is a Belgian strong dark ale. It is 9.00% for those of you that are counting. And it's been aged in oak barrels with raspberries. And it has only been brewed once. Wrap that around your head.
Actually, we were some of the first people to have it. We were some of the first people in the country.
Yeah, and we really, really enjoyed it.
I would love to be in that barrel.
Anyways.
Later.
Yeah. Oh, excuse you?
Wait a minute, dude.
Oh, my God. Wow.
Thanks for making that weird.
Anytime.
As if our day wasn't weird already. But what I love about it is the balance of the raspberry flavor and the tartness, and it's very approachable for what it is. And raspberries are such a delicate flavor that he really does a great job with this. I'm going to give it a 5, and then we will talk with everyone else when we come back from this little episode break. Welcome back, everyone. We are discussing Chad Yakobson's beautiful, wonderful, amazing Crooked Stave artisanal brewery. And we're doing a tap takeover, or I should say a brewery takeover. And right now we are talking about Silly Cybies. Good old boy Sparky, what did you think of this beer?
Well, I love raspberries, unlike some people. But that aren't here.
Why the hell are you looking at me?
No,
I
you just brought up, yeah. But no, this, I love raspberry, the fruit. I mean, it's such a versatile fruit. And, I think of some other raspberry beers, like I was just lucky enough to score some raspberry tart from Nuclearis.
Nice.
And
It's a great one.
I know, but it's also like a non-stop freight train of raspberries and diabetes, and I have no problems with that. That's a good thing, but
that's okay.
Yeah,
okay, just take your glucagon. You'll be fine.
I'll be great. I'll be great with that. But this like takes the fruit in such amazing, funky directions and just builds upon it. And again, I mean, I'm sorry, but like every time I drink these beers, I'm thinking of like, I could make this to go with it, and, again, I'm thinking about the chocolate this could go with.
What about the pork this could go with?
Oh, shut the front door. Oh my gosh. Something roasted and naughty with some like burnt, crunchy.
You just shut your mouth when you're talking to me.
Where's that Lebanese man? Can we bring him back? I'm the worst Jew in Nashville. I'd like to get that across. I'm a terrible...
That's another Sips, Suds and Smokes first.
Yes.
We have now selected the worst Jew in Nashville, and it's good old boy Sparky.
It's I'm a terrible representation of the tribe. But were I going to do those things that you speak of, I would absolutely do it with this beer. Without the
Which
rabbi.
he never actually would.
Nope.
Never would he.
I am so
But
sorry, Rabbi Kulik. I have failed you, and I failed America.
You failed your people.
I did. Man, I mean, these guys can't... I mean, this guy can't do fruit wrong. I'm going to have to go with a 5 on this bad boy as well. Bringing shame upon my people and pork products.
Good old boy Kendall, what did you think of this?
I'm still trying to figure out what a Cybies is. So
I can tell you that.
Please.
Cybies is the name of Chad's dog. I believe she was a Siberian Husky. She may no longer be with us. But she was the brewery dog, hung out and everything. So she had a lot of nicknames around the brewery. I think it's a she. I'm going to say she. But Salvador Cybies, Silly Cybies. So that's where this name came from.
it's a great beer. I mean, the raspberries in this are done so perfectly. As some of you have mentioned, a lot of raspberry beers just aren't perfect. And
True.
And I've, we've probably all had those beers where it tastes like they went down to the local grocery store and bought some fake raspberry extract and just poured it in, and it's awful.
Some of that raspberry soda.
I love raspberry beer when it's done well, and that's rare. And this is the exception, and it's exceptional. It's such a delicious beer, and I'm with you. Just the tartness of this, just so easy drinking, and just reminds you of having a nice little raspberry tart. The funk character in that brings that around, and that's a 5.
Yeah, for sure.
What are we going to do when we can't get this anymore?
Drive to Colorado with a U-Haul truck.
The shakes.
GABF is around the corner.
We're going to get a bunch of guns and
strong.
a U-Haul, and we're going to Colorado, and we're bringing Chad and some silly Cybies back.
So
Don't forget that cherry pie.
Yeah.
And the pie.
All of the things.
Good old boy Dave, what's your take on this beer?
Silly Cybies. So, wow, that was like a tongue twister. So you said this was only brewed once? Is that what was on the paper that I gave you, that you read, and then I took it as you saying it? Well, according to the interweb, that's what happened, is they only brewed this once. But having tasted this beer, I can't imagine that's true. It's probably that they brewed it once, and then they're going to brew it like a million more times. So that's what I'm going to assume
One can hope.
is going to happen, because otherwise I just can't imagine what the alternative would be. Probably apocalypse or something. Anyways, this beer's awesome. I won't say that it's as good as Mama Bear Sour Cherry Pie. It might be. I don't know. It's really damn good, though. Anyways, it's awesome. Great balance of the fruit. Yeah, I mean, a lot of fruit beers... A lot of times people brew fruit beers and they use a really light beer, like a wheat or something, so that the fruit can just kind of lay on top of very basic beer that's not hugely flavorful or whatever. When you get into these sours that are big beers and big flavors, and the fruit actually has to balance with it and play on a level field with it, and the nuances have to work together, that's really advanced. And then you're doing this in a barrel, like wood and all the many things that wood brings to and takes from beer flavors. So it's actually pretty incredible what they're doing with that. So this beer was phenomenal, and I would give it a 5. So it's funny, we were talking about how Chad did his dissertation on Brett and actually in Scotland. So I'm sure no one understood what he was saying when he read it, and he probably had no idea what they were saying. Fuck you! So I actually downloaded some of Scott's dissertation because I figured like if we run
Scott?
Who's Scott?
Chad. Where did I get Scott? Oh, Scott Lund. Yeah.
The Chad.
Yeah, Chad. Sorry, Chad. I called you Scott, but you're Chad. So, anyways, I downloaded some of Chad's dissertation, and I thought, just in case we run out of time, that I would read a little bit of it. So, here's a quick excerpt. I once caught some yeast in Nantucket. Its mitochondrial was so long you could...
Hey, Dave, stop. Just stop right there. I don't think that's part of Chad's dissertation.
You might be right. There was a very sketchy website that I downloaded that from. I think there was some dancing ladies on the homepage. But anyways, what are the chances we'd run out of time anyways, right?
Okay, so let's just talk about the beer.
Those crickets kept going.
There's,
That was weird.
yeah, it kind of like the belch, you know? It just
I got
goes on
uncomfortable
and
by
on
the
and
end of
on.
that pause.
Was
Okay.
that an uncomfortable pause?
It was.
A pregnant pause?
Yeah, I shifted from one butt cheek to the other during that time.
Okay,
I do that constantly.
Is that right?
I think
I
we,
kind of enjoy it.
kids, I think we have time for one more beer. So let's talk about one more beer. Which one would you guys like to talk about?
Well, I hear Bud Light's got this new flavor. It's like
America Light.
Nobody was going to cut me off.
America
Wow,
Light.
thanks.
I just want to see where you're going with that.
I know.
Yeah, we were all wondering if this was some correlation into one of Chad's beers.
Clamato Rita.
Oh.
That's I got that once in Tijuana. It took a lot of antibiotics to get rid of.
Don't get that in your beer. That'll sour your beer real quick.
Hey, that's a mistake you only make one time, friends. Let me tell you.
Okay. Why don't we talk about
Caught that south of the
Progenitor?
border, did you?
Progenitor.
Why don't we
Mexico
talk about
way.
Progenitor?
Yeah, let's get this back on track.
Okay, kids, come on. Let's reel it in. Let's look at the lights. Or not.
Shiny things.
Progenitor.
Okay, so Progenitor is just a nice American wild ale. It's 6.2% ABV, not 2.0, not 2.1, just 2. And sadly, it's retired, but I thought this would be really cool to talk about because it's so completely different than a lot of the other
Does
beers
it
that we
live
were
in
discussing
Florida now?
today.
Yeah. Does it live in Florida now?
It might.
Because it's retired.
It's retired. I got
So
you,
you guys
Dave.
have-
I
Yeah.
appreciate you, and I know that says a lot about me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And probably
Not
you.
good.
No.
Yeah. Either way.
So, good old boy Sparky, what did you think about this beer?
This was absolutely probably it's interesting because when I had it at first, it was pretty cold, I think. And when I first had it, of course, you just get hit with the hops straight on, which is unlike any of the other beers that we tried today, and some that we didn't even speak of. And I got a really kind of funky blue cheese aftertaste from it. I couldn't quite pick on it. But now that I've tasted it again, that it's gotten warmer, I'm not getting any of that.
Well, and you stopped eating the blue cheese earlier, too. So
oh, is that what that was?
Could be. Yeah.
All right. Well, you put it in front of me. I'll eat it. No, it's very, very different. And I almost got these, kind of darker notes at the end of it that it wasn't quite. Again, a lot of these others are very complex. Very, you feel the funk in it. This was just really just straight hops all the way to the end. Very little funk. I'd say overall, I'd have to give this a 3 out of 5.
Good old boy Kendall, what did you think of this beer?
I like that the dry hop character gives it something different that none of these beers have. And I was getting a little bit more funk probably when it was a little colder.
Yeah.
But I love this beer for one reason, and that's because it reminded me of something else that I love very much, and that's Orval. Oh. Which I just had
call.
quite a bit yesterday.
Yes.
And,
There was a good bit of that floating around.
Harumph,
wasn't there?
and so it's not. I'm not saying go out and buy this. It's just like Orval, but there are definitely some similarities there. A dry hopped Brett beer, And I was sensing commonalities between those, and that's why I would give this one a 4. I enjoyed it.
Good old boy Dave, what did you think of this?
Well, I am a big fan of like Brett Pales and funky beers that are hoppy. I think if they're done right and it's the right strain of Brett and the right kind of hops, that is just a really cool flavor. And if they balance it well, I think this one is a little hop forward for what I'd like to see. I'd prefer it if it was. I love hops now, so don't get me wrong. But if the Brett came out a little bit more and they weren't maybe fighting so much or whatever, but it's still a really cool beer and it's very enjoyable. I would also give this a 4.
Well, I'm going to be really quick, but I really enjoy this because Chad can do great things.
I mean, you mean
with
Scott, right?
Chad.
The Chad.
The Chad, yes. He can do great things with dry hopping, and he doesn't need a fruit in order to bring out some really nice funkiness. And again, in the beginning, it was about the funk. And then as it warmed up, it was more about the hops, and it was more about the malt backbone. And it's not a strong malt backbone, but it's enough where you can taste it and you can appreciate it, like you can appreciate an Orval.
Very unique.
Yeah, and to me that was great because it's not about this assault of Brett and fruit and dark, deep funkiness. This isn't an extraordinarily dark beer, but it just has this really great depth. And as it opens up, the fact that you're getting more hoppiness and more maltiness, that to me, speaks volumes about the type of brewer that Chad is. And yes, this has been a love fest all day, but I really enjoyed this beer for being so different from everything else that we had. And I give this a 4. So we have just a couple minutes left, and I just wanted to do a quick round on the Motif. So the Motif is a dark Belgian beer, and it's a Belgian sour, and it sits at 10% ABV. So this is the strongest out of everything that we drank tonight or today. What did you guys think of it, Sparky?
I'm shocked it was at 10%, especially when it was colder. I didn't pick up any of the booze that I normally would in that. But yeah, I mean, it feels like a classic Belgian dark, maybe a little bit brighter than what I'm used to in that kind of flavor, and that is not a bad thing at all. I think this is probably the least likely thing that I would have paired with food. Honestly, I think it's pretty complex, and I'm not sure how that would go. I think overall I'd have to give it a 4 out of 5.
Good old boy Kendall, what did you think about this?
I love this beer, and it's changed as it's warmed up. But when I first tasted it, I was getting kind of that Belgian candy sugar, the dark Belgian flavors, the dark fruits, the things you expect in a double or a quad. And it was just really tart or lightly tart, easy drinking, scarily easy for the range, but loved it. 4.
And good old boy Dave, what did you think about it?
I agree. I'm a pretty big fan of Belgian darks, but this one had some different characteristics, and it definitely did not taste as big as it is. So kind of scary, kind of dangerous, but I would definitely give it a 4.
And I gave this a 4 too, just because it wasn't all like super funky, and it wasn't super hoppy, and it wasn't fruity, but it was just enough to let you know that like even his base beers can be really good.
Open roads and open windows, my hand is yours forever, sweet love. Our eyes ahead on these back roads with a view.
stuff today. And so now we're going to wrap it up. We hope you enjoy this episode, and you can catch all of our episodes online, as well as on SoundCloud, TuneIn, Stitcher, YouTube, Spreaker, PRX, and our native media host. uTunes and our own iTunes app are the easiest ways to enjoy the show on your phone. Just search for Sips, Suds, Smokes on iTunes or in the Google Play Store.
We love your feedback, and you can reach us online at info@sipsudsandsmokes.com.
Our daily tasting notes flow out on Twitter every day at Sip Suds Smoke, and our Facebook page is always buzzing with lots of news.
Do us a favor and take the time to rate this episode. Well, maybe not this episode, but some of the others, if you're listening to us online. That's a big help to us, and we get to see the feedback and appreciate it.
Hey, Kendall, why don't you tell us about your beer blog and where to find it?
My wife and I blog about the good news of good beer and just trying to help people learn more about beer at beermakes3.com. You can find us also online on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all the usual sources.
I want to thank all of our hosts today on this Love Fest to Chad Yakobson, good old boy Dave.
I love being here, honey. That was way southern.
Yeah. Good old boy Kendall.
This was a great time. I love Crooked Stave beers.
And good old boy Sparky.
Join us next Sunday for America's Top 40 Countdown. Oh, sorry. Thanks.
This is good old gal Julieanna. Thanks for listening, and keep on sipping.
This has been a one-tan-hand production of Sips, Suds, and Smokes, a program devoted to the appreciation of some of the finer slices of life. From the Dude in the Basement Studios, your hosts, the Good Old Boys, will see y'all next time.